let's
Yeah.
get into it.
Let's do it.
Okay. Redfish.
Yes.
Seems generic. And at first I thought, well, what the fuck? What is a redfish? And that is because the Bassmaster has a redfish cup. Have you seen this thing?
I have not. No.
So yeah, Tim, we had another little glitch there, but yeah, Bassmaster, they have they have a cup. It's called the Redfish Cup.
I was not aware of that. That's pretty dope. Like, I know redfish is a game fish. It's a sport fish. It's a well sought after. Like, it puts up a hell of a fight, is what I'm hearing. And they have some tremendous strikes, dude. Like, watching them things hit topwater is so fun looking. But I did not know that they had a cup. Yeah,
we'll get into that. We'll get into that. Yeah. So they have a cup. That's how I started to figure out what they are. That's what, like, okay, so let's kind of set the stage of like what made me think of this topic, right? And so getting into Bassmaster, and the season ends, and nothing's really happening, and then all of a sudden this thing pops up in like social feeds and in my feeds, how the algorithms of the internet work. And the next thing I know, I'm watching Bassmasters co-fishing with people who redfish. I'm like, oh, goddamn, that's cool. So I did that last year, actually. I missed this year's cup.
Yeah.
That's okay. We'll cover a little bit about that later. But they pair an elite pro with somebody who fishes redfish. And I was like, oh, this is fucking sick, dude.
Dude, yeah, that is so super sick.
It's a good idea, right?
Yeah, for sure. Where they're just like, let's make a cup out of it and tag team perfect. Like, I mean, especially because of the time of year.
Right.
To just be like, what are we going to do in the off season? Because as fishermen like that too, eventually it probably gets a little bit old, and like, it's like, this is fun for them as well. To just be like, do you want to go fish for some other fish? And like, hell yeah, I want to fish for some other fish.
Yeah, it has to be, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you can catch them like you catch bass. So that's got to be a big draw for them to just be like, you can fish for them just like you already fish. And they're like, oh, hell yes.
Yeah, and we're definitely going to get into the fishing. So I actually got most of my research from the old Texas Park and Wildlife Department.
Oh yeah.
We've talked about them before on the podcast. Go back and look up our Sylvania episode. So yeah, we'll get into the fishing for sure. But that has to be part of the reason why they do it, right? Is because you can fish them, and you'll know more about that once we get into it. So I'm going to skip over it. They can use a net, Tim.
Oh, that makes sense though. Because it's like, I don't think you can, they're a lot harder to hand land.
Right.
Because you can get way, way bigger than a regular bass.
Yeah, dude. And we'll definitely get into that. Because we'll get into all that shit. Don't you worry. Here's the one thing that got me, like, why I wrote this down as a topic is during the cup last year.
Yeah.
Someone goes, redfish can live up to 60 years. And I was like, what the fuck? A 60-year-old fish? Now, that 6,000 pound sunfish was probably 60 years old, but I was like, what? Like a game fish, like you already said?
You say really? 6D, 60?
Yeah, like 60, like 6D. That's what they said on the cup last year.
Yeah.
My research says differently, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So either way, that was what started it, right? We'll get into like their lifespan and everything like, but that's what set me off.
Yeah.
What do you think about this? This is the big contrast for me. Sight fishing.
Yes.
They're primarily sight fishing. Like,
yeah.
We've talked endlessly about bass pros.
Yeah.
Not on this podcast, right? The electronics and all this other stuff. And just fishing in general, right? Like you getting ready for ice fishing, all the electronics and shit. And then all of a sudden you come across this redfish and it's like, we just look for them.
Yeah, dude. I've seen it. Seen it. You seen the boats?
Seen the what?
Have you seen the boats that they use?
Yeah, most of the time.
With the big pedestal, and they'll sit up there with their big like pole
Yeah.
and the push. Yeah. It's
Like
sight fishing.
an Italian in a fucking in
Yes,
Venice, right?
exactly. Yeah, it's like a
Yeah.
gondola. Yeah.
Yeah, there you
The
go. That's the
boat's
word.
not like the boat's not like a gondola, but he's pushing it like it because the pole, he's not really making any noise and stuff. And from where he's up there, instead of like rigging it up with all this other shit, you just kind of got that pole and you're just kind of pushing your way.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like how I used to. Like when I started out, I had an oar. When I was little, I had like a Lund and I didn't have a trolling motor. I would oar and I would sight fish. I would fish like they fished.
Oh, no
with
shit.
a little Lund. Yeah, for bass fishing and stuff. But the big difference there is like we have all like the foliage and the weeds and whatnot, and it blends in. They're out there in like these sand flats where there's no weeds and nothing. So it's just like this like flat plain. There's not really any structure, and they just go and they chase the food basically.
Yeah.
Or whatever structure is floating by. Like when me and you went fishing in Jamaica. Yep. And we drove around. The guide was literally looking for shit floating in the water.
Yeah.
That was their structure. And so it just moves every day. So you kind of just got to drive around and see if you can find them.
Yeah, right. Because it's just floating. It's just like open water that you're talking about. And that's actually one of the bigger things like about these fish. And we'll dive in here in just a second. Before we do that, the other thing that got me going on this is I've seen redfish in the store and I'm like, that's too small from what I've seen. And so I think red snappers get put in this redfish like label, like we've talked about with, salmon and steelheads and stuff like this. Is like you said it before, like the majority of fish that are in a supermarket are labeled wrong or something like that.
Yeah. Yep.
A snapper is not a redfish. Just so to clear that out, like a red snapper, not a redfish, not what we're talking about. These are actually called red drums. That's what like its proper name is.
Yep. A red drum. Yeah, they have a couple of different nicknames. I think one of my favorite ones is,
what is it?
I think it's still a drum, but it's like a puppy drum.
Oh yeah.
Am I right? Do you got that down? Puppy drum?
I don't know. That sounds awesome. I'm trying to remember back to my research now. It's been a few days.
I want to say that was one of them because it's like there's like it's redfish, red drum, and I want to say the funny one was like puppy drum. But I think they call them a spot. I want to say, like a spotted bass too, which I thought because if I remember it right, I thought that was weird. Where I thought like a spotted bass was its own thing.
Yeah.
But then they were like, no, that's the nickname of this. And I'm like, but is it like its own thing still? Or like people just get it confused, like the red snapper, red fish thing?
Mm-hmm.
So that was confusing to me because I thought they called it like a spotted bass, but it's not. I mean, it's kind of spotted, but it's red. It's a redfish. I don't know. The nicknames for shit is always weird. I suppose it's the same thing as like a dogfish.
Right. Yeah.
Like there's a shark that's called a dogfish. So I suppose you could have like a dorado is also called a dolphin, and or a mahi that's also called a dolphin in some areas. So
yeah. Right. For sure. Yeah. I wish I would have written down more of the names now because like some of what you're saying is ringing a bell, and then other parts I was like, fuck, did I read that? I can't remember. so like I can't fully like go like yep, that's definitely it. Like I am just listening intently going, I don't think you're wrong. I think you got it. One thing
but I could find it
is that you said about the spots, like as you were kind of talking about spots and whatever, is like, they have that distinct black spot on their tail like every single time. They have that dot right on their tail-ish area, which of course is just the typical, everyone just goes, well, it's so that way the predators bite him in the tail and they don't bite him in the face. Like that's what it's for. Big black tail, big black spot right on the tail.
Now that you say that, now I just Googled it too. Yeah. Spotted bass is a thing. They call these a spot tail bass. Oh. So that's what I was getting confused in my head. It's a spot tail bass.
Okay.
Yeah. Or they call it, so it says the red drum, also known as a redfish channel bass, puppy drum. I was right on that one. Puppy drum.
Ah, there it is.
Or spot tail bass.
Yep.
Or simply red. Yeah. So I remember,
Interesting.
yeah, I've looked into these before because they look like super dope. Like this was when me and my wife went down to Mexico. I didn't know anything about it. I just get excited about what fish I think might be in certain spots without doing any research. And I'm just like, is that one? Can I catch these here? And then like we didn't find a place to go fishing at all when we were in Mexico. So that kind of sucked. But I don't know. I never really found out the answer. I was like, I don't know what I can fish for down here. And I never really found it out. So I don't know. And it says it's found in the Atlantic Ocean. And I don't know what ocean is on that side of Mexico.
Well, I'll tell you because they're more in, they're on the Atlantic, but they're up to like, so in North America, they're more like from Massachusetts all the way down that Atlantic coast to like the tip of Florida, right? And then they go up into the Gulf, and that's actually where like the Bassmasters and stuff like that fish them, because it's in Texas there. So it's more in that Gulf area because they're all along the Gulf. So then that east side of Mexico would be where they live, where they're more prevalent, I should say.
Yeah. So it would have been where I was at, and I just never found anybody to take us out.
Yeah.
It wasn't as easy as Florida. There wasn't just a big giant charter list.
Yeah. And for some reason or another, I mean, maybe it's just because of the Bassmaster thing. Maybe it's because I was just on Texas. But like everything when I was doing my research, it always bumped up Texas. I don't know if Texas is spending more money to try to get people to come down there and catch them or what it is. But like, it seemed like they were big in Texas, which Texas, Mexico connected, blah, 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 all that fun stuff. But like, it seemed like they were really pushing it as like a newer sport fish down there, or like a reason to come down here and sport fish. And it felt newer. Like the promo of it felt newer. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how to explain that really, but when you read things, you get what I mean?
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. And I could definitely see with the after COVID and stuff, with the surge of all the outdoor activities and the seemingly surge of a lot of people going to Texas too from other shitty states.
Yeah, that's right. There was
like.
a big push in Texas.
There probably was, you know, that other thing where I'm sure people do know that they can bass fish there, but the lakes, there's not as many lakes. So maybe that's why,
right?
Where they're just like, yeah, our lakes are crowded. Is the ocean crowded? I don't think so. It's the ocean.
The fucking ocean. Okay. So I'm going to get a little more anatomy on these things before we get into the fishing part of it and the tourist part and all that stuff. So they range, it says anywhere from a deep blackish copper. I kind of chalked it up to like a dark carp to nearly silver. So to call it a redfish is like, oh shit. So it's totally, I don't want to say regional because they didn't say that, but this was coming almost directly from just Texas Info, like I said. But to think about it being like a blackish coppery, like carp looking motherfucker, to being like, I don't know. I don't want to say tilapia, Josh. Come on now.
I actually think like they kind of look like a walleye sometimes too, with the color. Like they're almost like a golden. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Walleye is probably a better explanation than a carp. Yeah, because walleyes can get real dark when they're real deep livers, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's just like bass too.
Sure.
I mean, like the big ones and stuff, like they got that nickname black bass for a reason, because some of them like get real dark.
Right.
But then there's also some that are really, really light. It's like, it's kind of the opposite. It's like it's kind of like the countries that you come from too. Like the countries, like people from Africa and stuff, when they're, like exposed to the sun more,
Yeah.
hot sun year round, like the
Right.
melanin or whatever. I have no idea what fish have in their skin.
Right.
But when the water is really, really dark, a lot of times those fish are way lighter than the fish in the clear water. It's like
Oh,
the sun penetrating makes them darker.
interesting.
Yeah.
So it's probably, yeah, that's probably the case. And even though these are called red drums, because that's probably the most common one,
Yeah.
you're making a good point. There. That's why I said I didn't find that it was regionality, so I didn't want to say that. But like, we're connecting dots that are in the animal kingdom, including humans.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, I think it's easier to draw from humans because we don't have hair covering our skin. It's like we're one of the only ones that you can see the skin color straight off the bat.
Right. Good point. Good point. So they're fast grown fish. I want to put that out there. 11 inches and 1 pound in the first year. So there you go. Probably a good reason to promote it as a tourist fish, right? Because it's quick growing. Just throwing that out there. 17 to 22 inches and 3.5 pounds in the first 2 years, and 22 to 24 inches and 6 to 8 pounds in 3 years. And that right there, from everything that I've seen, is more or less the sweet spot.
Okay. Yeah.
Because they were catching, like, when I watched it last year, but whatever, they were catching like, 7-9 pounders and stuff like that. They were in that range, and they were kind of going like, nice fish.
Yeah.
But dude, the red drum record is 94 pounds over there on the East Coast.
100-pound fish. That's a big old. Oh man,
They can get big.
The crazy thing. I mean, I think the craziest thing in a world like that, where like a bass in a lake can get big, and it doesn't have to worry about anything. It is the alpha.
Sure.
And a red drum out in the ocean is just like a 90-pound fish is nothing to some of those other fish out there. Yes, for sure. Those sharks will still come out there. Could you imagine that? You have a world record and the shark comes and bites off half of it.
Yeah. And you're like,
or the tax man, as many refer to it. Just like, the tax man got me. Yeah, you got to pay your tax. They come and they come and take it.
I watched so much fishing shit where they're worried about sharks, and I've never heard the tax man before is described for a shark. That's hilarious.
The fishermen always refer to it because the tax man will come and get his. Like, you'll be catching the fish, and then the tax man comes and snatches it up, and all of a sudden you like reel in just the head because it took off.
Right. Yeah.
80% of the body, and just like, the tax man got me.
Shit, dude, I've never heard that. That's a good one. Yeah. That's a good one. I got to throw in, because it came from Texas, Parks and Wildlife. I got to throw in the Texas record at 59.5 pounds. So
yeah,
they got good ones down there. So here's the thing, Tim. What I just said, like why I think it's a sweet spot to that 3 year is because first 3 years are in bays or in surf zone near passes. I have no fucking clue what in surf zone near passes means. I don't know what a pass is. So I just wrote it down, and I'm reciting it.
Yeah, it must be how just the water moves or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
Surf zones, because the surf zone is, where they say you're in the surf or whatever. It's just
the shallower. It's before the drop off. Yeah. It's the part where humans mostly hang out in the ocean. Yeah. So we'll just say, okay, they're in the bays and the smaller areas, and they spend their first 3 years there. And like we already talked about, the boats got those, like, they're mostly sight fishing. They're mostly doing the like pole on the bottom of the water to push the boat around. Like, you're seeing these things. And that's why I gotta believe this 22 to 40 or 22 to 24 inch, 6-8 pounds. Like, that's a sweet spot that people are actually fishing for. Because after that 3 years, they go more out into the Gulf, and kind of back to what you were saying, like when we were fishing in Jamaica.
Oh, yeah.
They're out, they're further out. Because you got to think about it, right? When we were fishing, we could still see land. We weren't that far out, but we couldn't see the fucking bottom. I mean, it was gone. It was just blue.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I remember watching the we weren't even into like the real deep stuff. He was saying that like you go out farther and it gets even more deep. But we were fishing a drop off that went from like, I forget how many feet. It wasn't crazy, but then it dropped down to like 400 feet. So
Holy
we
shit.
were in like 400 feet of water, but we weren't even in the deep stuff. He was like,
right.
yeah, you can go out farther and it'll drop off. I want to say it was like dropped off into like 1200 or something.
God damn.
Yeah, just insanity. Just, it just creeps me out even thinking about it. Like, I don't know why. I don't know if it's just the thought of like something absolutely massive. Like, it does hold the potential to have like a movie monster in this space. But it's like, what does that deep of water do? Like, why is it scary? I get 40 feet down, I'm probably dead. Who cares if it's 1,200 feet?
It's almost like, what's the difference? Like, why does it set you off, right? It's like, what's the difference between 40 feet and 400 feet? Like, really, to you as a human, what's the difference?
Yeah.
Right.
Nothing. I think it's 100% just what could be.
Right.
It's that unknown.
Yeah.
You're
like, there's just so much more fucking space.
I've always been nervous about the unknown. And they're like, we don't know about most of the ocean. And then I'm just like, and these monsters, they've ate people. They're down there. And the people that have seen them have never seen anything else again. That's why we don't know about them.
Never seen anything else again.
Anything. Except for the inside of that fish.
Into day 2. What's inside day 2 of the calendar? While you do that, though, this is the other thing I wanted to get to here. Dude, they just come in during storms. So like these bigger fish that are out in the ocean, so to say.
Yeah.
They know when a storm's coming. They fucking come back into the bays, dude. It's called the Red Run.
The Red Run.
Dude,
I like
or the
title.
Red Bull Run, actually, for whatever reason. I don't know why it's called that, but it's Red Bull Run. They'll come fucking rushing back into the bays. And so, like, pier fishers and fucking everybody's just pumped because they know the run's happening. And I'm just like, what? That's fucking wild. You know when these fish are going to be moving. And one more thing.
Struggle.
They live in brackish waters. So majority of the time, they're fishing in the shallows of the bay or the Gulf. I'll just say the Gulf. I'll just use the Gulf, right? And they have
damn hell ass poop turds.
They have the ability to live in the brackish waters. We've talked about brackish waters. Brackish waters are estuaries, whatever you want to say.
Shit.
Salt and fresh water mix. They have the ability to live in that. They've found some decent sized fish. I don't have any sizes, but it just said they have some decent sized fish. And they'll live in these brackish waters. So they've actually found some decent sized fish upstream in totally fresh water.
Oh.
They didn't say it was totally like I piggyback that on the storm thing. I piggyback it on the storm to say like they run, right? Red Bull Run. They'll come in. But also some of them just go upstream, I guess. I was like, oh shit. Okay. Well, that's pretty cool. So I guess they're kind of freshwater fish too.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah. What's that other beer? What did the other beer?
Took a while to get out, and your guess is as good as mine. It is a crazy looking can. Like the weirdest looking building I've ever seen. That's a building. There's this giant building. Yeah, and then it says
you could have made it up. You could have told me anything. I'd be like, no.
Term Weiss, I think. But what I'm about to drink, I don't know, because there's two different things on both sides of this building. One side says Bayerischt Weberbeeb Spezialiteita. And the other side says Wissenberbauer Kuschlabauer. I can't. That's not
And if
how
you
you
know
say anything.
German, you put it in the
Kutschlauer.
comments on the YouTube video so we know what the fuck he's
I
saying.
actually know a girl that knows German. I should just be like, can you read this? I don't think so. We're a little bit heavier alcohol than last time. Last time was 5%. This one's 5.9.
Oh, nice. A
Black
classic.
can and a building on it. I have no idea what any of this means.
So, Tim, we're about to get into the part
Ooh.
that makes me go, oh, tell me. Review.
Well,
quick
I
review.
just I enjoyed it. Like it's a little bit more like a full flavor than the last one. I don't know exactly what to compare this to, but that's nice. So far, I've been pleasantly surprised. I thought I was going to be drinking like the harshest of harsh IPAs. Like they're just like put it in the thing, like get rid of
Germans
this
don't
gross
make that
shit.
Yeah.
No, it's perfect. So far, it's been really good. I've enjoyed
Yeah.
both of these.
Ices are sweet, dude.
I think the second one's better than the first one. And Hell, the first one's called Hell, and it's way better than I thought it was going to be with a name like Hell.
Right.
I don't know. Germans are just like that.
They're just wild.
I want to drink Hell. Okay. All right. Whatever.
Okay. You do you. Okay. So we're going to get into the part of the red fish now that I was like, okay. Tim says it kind of fish like a bass and stuff like that, which I expected, which is why I thought they paired him up for the bass and all that stuff. But here's the thing that totally threw me off in my research because I was expecting something and found something else. In the young years, the bay, they hang out in the bay, they eat crabs, shrimp, marine worms, and small fish. You're like, yeah, of course they do. Okay, that's totally normal, whatever, right?
Yep.
They're bottom feeders.
Yeah.
And often can be seen with their back or tail out of the shallows. So that's how you can sight fish them so easy because they're fucking kicking around out of the water.
Right.
They're bottom feeders. What the fuck, dude? Bass are not bottom feeders. Help me out here. What am I missing?
Yeah, dude. So I don't know. Like I don't know if they're like a carp and they're just kind of like they can do whatever they want. Like a carp doesn't seem to be that, but they're bottom feeders in the sense that their mouths kind of look like a sucker or whatever.
Like it's pointed more down than out like a bass.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's their nose is kind of like capped. Almost like a sucker minnow kind of looks like.
Yeah.
Where they have like a rounded nose instead of like the bass just has like the whole face opens up, it looks like.
Right. Yeah. Or even like a pike or something like that. Like those more hydrodynamic fish where like their fucking mouth is no doubt straight out in front of them like a dog snout.
Exactly. Yeah. The long pointed hydrodynamic ones that use speed are like pointed.
Yeah.
The other ones are like their whole face kind of opens up so they can inhale stuff.
Yeah.
And this one, it's definitely pointed towards the bottom like a bottom feeder, but I've 100% seen them hit there. It's a little bit higher up though, I think. And I've seen them hit
it's not like
water.
That full vacuum fucking down sucker that you're talking. Because I know what you're talking about, where that type of mouth you're talking about is just like a full on hole to the ground. This one is more like you think they can open it forward.
Yeah.
Because I didn't see any of that. I didn't look into that. But yeah, I believe you.
Yeah. Well, they kind of it's close, but they actually kind of like lift their face. Like they know when you see them hit top water, because of the way they have to attack it, they can't come up from underneath it and hit it. They kind of come like straight at it, and then they kind of like swim up on it. Like if the mic was the bait and it's coming like this, it has to kind of just like lift its head, come like right at the end.
That was perfect too, because even the audio listeners can get that what you did because of the way your voice faded out. That was sick, dude.
I heard it too in the mic. I wasn't trying, but I heard it. But yeah, it's like when you see a video of it, they make a wake. They're not and you're fishing for them in shallower water a lot too. So instead of like fishing top water in a lake where the fish might be coming from 5-6 feet down, hitting it, and then they really blow up on it, this thing is like a wake. You see this bullet just charging your bait, and then bam, it smashes it and goes back. Like it looks dope. Yeah, dude. That's why I'm like, I want to fish these so bad.
Yeah, dude.
But they do look like bottom feeders and stuff. But I've seen them hit flies too. Because some
Yeah,
people
I've seen
fly
people
fish
fly
for
fish
them.
them too. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yep. It actually, the Texas wildlife, I didn't really write it down. I just kind of quick made a note in the back of my head. Yeah, it's becoming super popular with fly fishers.
Yeah. And I think it's because of like the way you stand on the deck and the
Oh,
way
right.
you do the whole, paddling and stuff.
Yeah.
Because some of them will fish from that top thing.
No
But
shit.
a lot of times it's like a guide. The guy's on the back pushing it,
Right.
and the guy in the front will be fishing.
Yeah. Mhm.
But sometimes the guy in the back will be pushing, and he'll cast from up there. I've seen
Right.
it,
Oh,
but
wow.
I don't know how common it is. But I've definitely seen it before.
Sure. I get where you're going with that. Yeah. No, yeah, it's crazy. Because I just would never, if being someone who who enjoys catfish and has done the like a little bit more research on catfish and stuff like that. It's like that motherfucker's never going to come to the surface and hit something. But they also live in water. For the most part, they live in water way deeper than redfish, from what we're finding out, and from what you've seen, from what I researched and stuff like that. Is like the Gulf is clear as fuck. The ocean is clear
Yeah.
at those on the shallow bays. Like you can
Yes.
see the bottom, no problem. These are sight fish. Like catfish live in murky shitholes.
Right. Well, here's the crazy thing. It depends on which species of catfish you're talking about.
Well, that's very
Because
true.
I've seen also plenty of videos online where they have the big, like, long eel pout looking tail.
Yeah.
And those things hit top water.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
And it's
Yeah, I'm talking
gnarly.
mostly flat and blues.
I think I sent you a video of that too. Those people fish top water next to those like couple 100-pound monsters they look like. And they're fishing out of those tubes where you kick with like flippers on. Like you're just exposed and they're right there.
You did show me that.
And it's
yeah,
like,
fuck that. Those
Jesus,
are crazy.
that's insane. Because what scares me, not necessarily the catfish that they're fishing for, but it's like, what else are you just in this open water with? If you're in a world that has these monster catfish that nail top waters, what else is there?
Right. Yeah.
Scares me, dude.
It scares the shit out of me. It goes back to the 440
I literally
feet.
just
Like
got the
before
chills, man.
40 feet versus 400. Like, I'm not trying to hit that, dude. Okay.
Dude, there's so much stuff. I could go on for a while. I'm not trying to get into all of it, but like it's like even
I know,
in
me neither.
Florida, dude. Even
we got to
in
try to
Florida,
get into
you see
more
people.
redfish here before we hit our hour for the first half.
Right.
Okay. So here's one cool thing is, okay, the 3 to 4 years, that's the sexual maturity. So again, when they hit 3 to 4 years, the males are sexually mature. And so that's when they go out and they spawn and stuff like that. So that again, just goes back to the, like, that's why I think this 3-year-old in the bay, 24-inch, 7-8 pounds, whatever. That's really what people end up fishing for when you fish for the reds. Dude, back to the fast breeding. Eggs take 24 hours to incubate, and then the tides just pull them in, and then they just never leave for 3 years.
That's crazy.
Isn't that cool?
I wonder how long they can like produce as well. You're sexually mature at 3 and you can live to 60?
Well, so that's a great segue. They don't actually live, according to my research, they don't actually live to 60. So I don't know where the person on Bass got their research from, but again, I'm just citing, I mostly got all my research from the Texas Park and Wildlife site. Yeah. And they said that their oldest one that they've ever recorded was 37 years old. But still.
Okay, that's still nuts.
That's old, right?
Dude, I want to say, I want to say that the freshwater stuff we have around here is half that at best.
Right. Yeah.
That's crazy.
To make a point is, so yeah, fast reproducing, live for a long time. I don't know how long they are, reproducing into their from 3 to 37, but like, dude, this seems like it's a pretty healthy fishery that they got going on. If they just regulate it right, it's like, goddamn, seems like a pretty good deal, especially the way you keep describing them, the way that they fish. Like, it sounds fucking intense, dude.
Right.
um, so speaking on that, I said earlier, like, for the most part, when they're up in the shallows, they're eating shrimp and crab and worms and small fish, right? You're kind of,
Yeah.
that seems average. Like, that seems normal. I don't think anybody's surprised by that. Like,
Mm-mm.
if you're surprised by that, whatever, you're weird. Okay, so a crab. I was like, how the fuck do you fish with a crab? You can fish with a crab in Texas, apparently.
Yeah.
How do they do it? How did what do you think? What have you
just
seen?
they just put a hook straight through it because it depends on which kind you're looking at. But I think they use the soft shell, and then you just put a hook straight through it.
Of course.
Yeah,
Catch 'em
you
when they're
can.
fucking
The
soft.
power bait makes crabs.
What's that?
The power bait saltwater they make crabs. You can get crab power bait.
Dude. No
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, yeah.
I want to look that up. I'm so blown away right now. Power bait makes a crab. Okay, cool. I'm gonna Google that. I
Yeah.
just want to see it.
Yeah, they make soft crab. I think they just this last iCast came out
No
with another
shit.
one that has like the trailing claw swims like a like a tail or whatever.
Yeah. What the fuck? We did like a 3-hour podcast on iCast, and I didn't even fucking see that because we did so much research on it that we ended up talking for like 3 hours. And I didn't see that one. What the fuck? But funny you should say that, though, is because recently we've talked about, soft plastics and stuff like that. And you said creature baits. And it's just like, I think these things are prime for creature baits because you got shrimp, crab, small fish, right? And they're like,
Yeah.
oh, they'll hit plastics. Sure. No problem. You could fish soft plastics with these things. Like, do you think this is a creature bait type situation?
I think you probably could. Like, yeah. I think because I guess
am I
know.
under complicating? Maybe I don't know how to explain it. But like, am I thinking of a creature bait as too universal? Maybe.
Well, a creature bait could be like a lot of things. So I think, like, because a creature bait, a lot of the creature baits don't really like mimic anything that's in real life. So
you just sent me the plastic. I just wanted to.
Yeah, that's the Berkeley. That's the gulp. Crab.
Crazy looking, dude.
Yeah, but they have an actual power bait like one and stuff. There's a couple of different versions. But
am I underthinking the creature bait?
I don't think you're overthinking it. I think you could probably cast it out there. The one thing is I don't know if you can jig like they would with bass. I don't know. I think you're trying to cast out like more fast moving stuff. I think you're trying to cover a lot of water because they're more sparse. I think they hunt fast. I think if they're hungry and they want to eat, they come at it quick.
Are you basing that on the fucking A? That's all I can only think of sounds and words and
the fly fishing?
Right now. By the way that you've seen them just like rip through the water and that tail kick up. They have a word for that, but anyways, is that why you think they fish fast?
I think so. Yeah, I do. I just think that seems to be the way that I've seen them fish is like fly fishing. So you're kind of like pulling the fly. The fly fishing is a little bit slower on the top of the water, but that's on the top of the water,
Yeah.
You never fish a top water like super fast. It seems to be like they kind of walk the dog to kind of keep it in the strike zone. A lot of movement, a lot of popping and moving and chaos
and breaking
and
that surface tension, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would think you could probably get away with maybe like a swim bait of some sort, not necessarily a creature bait where you're pulling it off the bottom, but maybe.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. Or maybe, I mean, you would think that like a crab is almost like a creature bait too, So if you're fishing a certain creature bait, it might see it as like whatever else it eats. That's the thing with creature baits. Like it's just a bunch of movement and it's a bunch of disruption. And the fish necessarily isn't like smart enough. It's not always. Sometimes you want to match the hatch and make it look like what you're trying to get, like what it normally eats.
Right.
And sometimes sometimes what triggers them is giving them something new to see.
Sure.
Where they're just like, I'm going to smash whatever the fuck that is.
That's what made me think about, like, that's what made me think that creature bait might be a good idea, because it's like, if I were to take like a shrimp and a crab and a small fish and mash it together, I'm like, yeah, that's like, I could see how there would be a creature bait that has no name. Like it literally would have to be a creature, because it would look like a shrimp with a crab claw that swims like a small fish or something like that. You know what I mean? It's just that stimulation. That's exactly what I was thinking. I don't know that anything exists like that, but in my head, I'm just going like, that could be a creepy crawler. I could see a creepy crawler.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't think the fish is really like, the fish doesn't have logic. It's just, it sees something moving. And if it looks like food and it smells like food, there's a good chance it's going to try to eat it.
It's just going to go for it, right?
But if it doesn't look like what it's used to, it might just be like, oh, I don't know about that. You know, like it just, it might not trigger whatever it is. Or it might be like perplexed where it sees it and its brain can't comprehend. Just sees it and it's just been like, never seen that before. So it doesn't even look at it again. Just like, is that food? No, I don't know what the fuck that is. Then just keeps looking for other food. Like, oh, yeah,
right.
So there's a whole bunch of stuff. Nobody knows for sure what's going on.
Right.
But I've never really looked into how you can catch them. I just know that like when I watch videos, most of the time it's topwater, and the videos are probably most of the time topwater because those are more exciting videos. So they probably catch them a whole bunch of different ways. It's just that the top videos are the most exciting ones.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and that kind of goes back to the live bait, is like, there's ways to rig up shrimp. They just say like, put a weight on it and let the shrimp swim around. Like put a live shrimp on and just put a weight and let it swim. It's going to do all the work.
With them being bottom feeders, I would assume that you could use like cutfish and shrimp and stuff too.
Yeah.
Where you're literally just using pieces of meat that you can throw out there.
Yeah, 100%.
When we were in, when I went to St. Thomas, the guy there, when I was talking about just like what, you know, he was talking about, we went out fishing and that guy said, if you want to try fishing yourself, just go to the shore or go to the store and just buy shrimp. He's like, just go to the freezer section, buy shrimp, let it thaw out and put it on a hook and cast it out there.
No kidding.
And I'm just like, oh, I never even thought about it. He's like, yeah, don't worry about the bait shops. Just go to the store. It's a lot cheaper.
Nice.
I'm just like, oh, dope, dude.
Because they would have sold it to you live and you don't need it live. You just need it to smell.
Yeah. He's like, it'll be fine. Just go get yourself some
kidding.
shrimp. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It was pretty dope that he was just like cool about it. Like, yeah, this is how I would do it.
Damn. That's pretty sweet. Okay. Let me ask you a few more things about reds before we jump into the random take here and start talking aquatine.
Yeah.
Okay. The crab, back to that. Live crab.
Yep.
It says that hook it through the back leg. I'm like, okay.
Oh, okay.
But I get what you're saying too. You just slam it through the body. I'm sure that works. I'm sure that is a thing that they do. Now.
Yeah.
Okay. A slip sinker for fish. This is the small fish part. And let them swim. So what the hell is a slip sinker? Is that the one where you're talking about where you put the line through it? You've talked about that before.
Yes.
You put the line through this lead. Okay.
Yeah, there's a bullet weight is what a lot of people would be more familiar with around here because that's what you use for like a Texas rig and stuff.
Okay.
And that's a version of a slip sinker.
Gotcha.
Like you said, it's just a hole. There's egg sinkers and teardrop sinkers and stuff.
Oh,
like
yeah. We kind of
everything that the line passes through is a slip sinker.
I think we might have talked those in episode 55 when we talked about the poop and soft plastics. That might have been we kind of went through those quickly because everything you're saying is sounding super familiar.
Yeah, slip is literally just like the line passing through. That's why the slip bobber is the line passing through.
That's the association I made with the name.
Yep.
Yeah, perfect. What the hell's a plug, dude? They said fish plugs. I'm like, what?
Oh, a plug is like a top water.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, there you go.
Yeah.
The article was totally like fish plugs. Well, there you go. There's the top water part.
Yep. Yeah. I think a plug is more like a popper style.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess a plug might be anything that's. I think it's literally like it's, like plugged up, like it's buoyant, it floats.
Oh, yeah. I got you.
Yeah.
But also, don't overthink it. I got you. Like, you can just say like that top water. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
Because we can research it later. Single and double drop bottom rigs. That was another thing that was said in this article, and I'm just like, I got nothing.
That's probably like one of those like live bait or like real bait, because they have like there's like a weight that goes to the bottom, and then there'll be like multiple hooks that come off of it.
Oh,
We tried to fish like that in St. Thomas, and then my brother-in-law had something big on for a little while, and then he didn't, and there was no line left, and he had like a gnarly leader, and we're pretty sure a shark just came and bit off the whole thing.
The taxman came, right?
Yeah, the taxman came and got him for sure. Yeah, I think there was a little fish maybe on there, and the taxman came and snatched up that whole thing.
Shit.
What did you call it? A double? I'm gonna put in double.
It said single and double drop bottom rigs, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck that is. So I see that you're googling something. You're gonna Google that quick and just try to like. I know that when you see it, you're probably going to comprehend it and be able to spit it out. But what about a grabbing sinker? It says to stay on the bottom of the surf. So in my head, I'm going, well, grabbing sinker, that totally makes sense. It's just something that like is made to grab on to the ground. But have you heard of anything like this? Is this something that would be fished up in our neck of the woods? A grabbing sinker? Because I'm going to assume it's just literal.
Yeah, I would. When you said it, I was picturing like a tiny little anchor,
right?
Like,
not
that's
what I pictured, but dope. Yeah,
and I'm sure that's not what it is, but there's probably some stuff like that, because I do think that they have like little pyramid shaped ones that are like little pointy, that kind of grab a little bit more, that aren't made to slide as easy.
Yeah.
So I think there are some surf weights like that, because the bass fishermen and stuff too, when they're fishing rivers and they're current by the dams and stuff, they'll put on some pretty gnarly sinkers because the water moves so much there.
Right.
So it depends on what you're dealing with. But yeah, I Googled it and I was right. The double drop is like, it's like a weight, and then the line goes up to a hook, and then the line goes up a little bit further to another hook. So there's probably a couple of different things that they can do, like put a couple of crab on there and that are just kind of like struggling and moving around, and
right.
I don't know,
but something that we're not like you. So now you know what a single drop is. Like, we can fish that. You fish that.
A single drop looks like it's very familiar to a drop shot.
Right. Okay.
But a drop shot is more like the line goes to a hook and then goes down to a weight. This looks like it's more like a line goes down to a swivel, and then an extra line comes off of that to a hook. So there's the weight, but there's extra line to move more freely. And I've seen this done with like smelt and stuff, where they're putting the line down and they're pulling it up, and then there's like 5 fish on one line.
God damn.
Yeah. So this, I don't know what the benefit would be, if it's just trying to give them like a buffet. Like, here, we got 2 crab here.
Right. Or just, the idea that there's more presence there.
Yeah.
I actually we've talked about it before too. What? Presents?
No,
I made you laugh at the word presents because it's December.
No, I wasn't laughing. My brain's stupid. Because I said like, hey, and it's just like, for some reason in my head, I was just like, I got 2 hooks over here for you. You look like you're about 3, sexually mature, big boy.
And that's how people will actually remember the shit that I say. is the humor like that. I'm just like, 3-year-olds sexually mature, and so like that's when they start to breed, so that's probably why. And then you're just like, Hey, big. What's up, 3-year-old?
What's up, 3-year-old? You looking to get at 2 crabs? I'm just now picturing that eggs Tyrone.
That's what I was just gonna say, but the way you said that, I was just like, y'all want some hot crabs and eggs?
Y'all want a couple of crabs on the hook? You look like you about 3 years old.
Oh shit, dude. Okay. One more thing, and we're gonna wrap up the Reds. Red drums specifically. You know why they're called red drums, Tim?
No.
They can make a drumming noise with their swim bladder.
Oh, no way. Really?
Yeah, so I guess it's like underwater. Yeah.
Dude, there's a bunch of different kinds of drums. I had no idea that's why they were called drums.
Yeah.
I was assumed it was like a shape. That they're just like, yeah, it's like a drum or whatever.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Like this is some sort of drum that is like, it's a traditional drum of some sort or whatever. Right.
Right.
But
just,
apparently it's just because they can do some weird shit with their swim bladder that makes them all drummy.
Yeah. Ocean scientists are lazy, huh? I'm just picturing now they're just like, the big old sunfish is like, yeah, we don't know a lot about him. He gets real big though, huh? And like this fish over here is like a drum, and it's like because it sounds like a drum it can in the water, and then like the redfish. What do we know about them? Well, they get ready they're sexually mature early, but they live old. Just like all the facts we're spitting out here just seems so like I just picture it's like some dude from the bayou.
yeah, dude.
Oh well, we learned a little bit about it. Big old dumbfish over here. These ones start to have sex early. They bang soon and they bang a lot for a long time. You know, and this one over here, you get them up, you fit them up, you hear that bum 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 bum. That's a drum. You know, they're a red one, they're a black one, they're a bunch of different colored drum, and they all taste good. And sometimes you see them in the supermarket say red snapper. They ain't red snapper. That ain't no red snapper. They ain't no red fish. That's the red snapper.
Oh, if you are listening to this in Louisiana, down from the bayou, please let us know how awesome we just were.
Yeah.
No, seriously, that was all due respect. Because you guys think we think weird as shit, like talk weird as shit, but I love that accent. I think it's
I do too. I
so
love it. If anybody's listening down there that is like mad that I'm making fun of you or whatever, how accurate am I? Is it just me being stupid, or are you listening to it just be like, no, that sounds like a lot like our lead scientist.
Yeah, dude, for real, no joke. Because like I also think like that's an area where they would be fishing reds too. So I hope that someone just like comes across this and is from there and hears it and is just like, we should take them boys fishing down here. They got our accent.
They understand how it be. We gonna catch that. We gonna put it on a double rig. We gonna catch a redfish, and then we gonna take them out for beignets. Oh, it sounds like a plan, guys. I'm ready.
Right, for reals, no joke. Like we're laughing because we're like, yeah. Dude.
Yeah, and
we won't talk like that the whole time. This is all
we will not give you guys shit unless you're down there just being like, hey, what's it like up in Minnesota, eh? And then I'm just like, yeah, I am pretty good, you know.
Yeah, dude, the back and forth, exactly.
It get a little bit cold. I wouldn't be able to wear just the overalls with no shirt underneath like y'all do, but you know.
All right, Tim. You got another beer? You ready to talk about Aquatine? Because I think
I have 22 more.
All right. Fucking perfect. Let's hit the break.